This is Ola at My Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them
All right,
free at
welcome back
myempirepro.com/books.
to
I'm
My
also looking
Empire
for
Pro.
partners, money,
I
time,
hope
or
I'm
anywhere in
live.
between.
Let me just
If that's
take a
you,
look at
visit
something.
myempirepro.com/partners.
I don't know what's
And
going on
if you
here.
want to try the all-in-one
Welcome.
PropStream
As
software for
you're hitting
free,
this
go to
video, this live training, please make sure you're
myempirepro.com/PropStream.
hitting
Stay
the like
tuned. Let's
button.
build your
If
$10,000
you're
per
enjoying
month
what
real
we're
estate
doing here, if
empire.
you're getting value, please hit the like button. I appreciate you for doing so. All right, we've been stepping up our game here so far. All right. Yeah, today we're going to be diving into some stuff around how to build a $10,000 per month wholesale. I'm just going to make sure that we're live and then we'll get going. Because my internet connection is not the best. I switched hotels, but let me just take a look here. Okay. We might not be live. Let me see. Interesting. Hold on 1 second, guys. Okay, I think we're live. Let's see. I think we're live. I'm just gonna make sure and then we'll get going, okay? Just hit the like button as you're coming in. Wow. I'm gonna play some music while we're trying to make sure that we're live. All right, we're looking good. So I'm just gonna jump right in. So welcome. I appreciate you for being here. I'm just gonna play this short intro and then we'll get going. I'll be right back. My name is Ola, but we're here on every weekend. I try to catch it on Friday, if not on Saturday, to just drop some of the knowledge, 20 years worth of knowledge that I have around real estate wholesaling in particular, but by way of digital marketing. So today is gonna be no different. We're gonna get into some nitty-gritty and I'll be right back. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live.
This is Ola, my Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your Empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire.
All right. We're having technical difficulties, so let me see if we can finally get this working. Hmm. All right, testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's
This is Ola at My Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. So I guess we're gonna have to work with what we got. Welcome back. Sorry about this technical difficulty or difficulties. You can always subscribe to the channel and make sure you're grabbing the content once we chop it up and make them reviewable. I wanted to do a quick shout out to Scorpion Bradford. Yes, we do deals everywhere. It depends on what you got. What do you have? Send me an email. Drop me an email at supportnow@myempirepro.com. Just drop me what you have. All right. So without any further ado, we're just going to get into the conversation. The thing is that some of my bells and whistles, I can't see them. This I'm going to have to leave some terrible reviews for some of these hotels. They need to understand that some of us are doing business inside of these hotels and we need proper internet connections. And if they don't get that, then they deserve a good congruent review to match that. So, but that's what I've been dealing with because I've been on the road for business for a few weeks and I've been dealing with such nonsense. Anyway, without any further ado, we're just going to jump right in. Yes, today we're going to be continuing to talk about how to build $10,000 or more in real estate business, wholesale real estate to be precise. So we're going to talk about that. Let me see my internet. Something is just terribly wrong. It was okay until just before I came live, and then I started experiencing all this funny shenanigans. So I turned off the blurriness in the background. Maybe that will help. All right. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about today is list pendings. As usual, we're talking about list pendings. List pendings is just fancy name for pre-foreclosure. Okay. It means a pending lawsuit. It means the homeowner already stopped the payment. That's what it means. Okay. So list pendings is a major source of motivated seller leads when it comes to this business. Um, so before a property even hits foreclosure, as you might see it if you're a layman, if you're not really in real estate before, you might see pre-foreclosures on Zillow or before it hits the marketplace, before it hits a realtor. Many times, it's gone through a stage called the list pending. So if you can catch some properties in the list pending stage, then you might end up with a gem, the money making opportunity. Okay, so that one document that tells you that money is coming is called list pending. Is Latin word for pending lawsuit. Okay, so that's what it really means. It's an early signal of a motivated seller. Not all list pendings become motivated seller, because you have to remember this is a life event for many people, and it's not always as simple as it may sound. As if you're facing foreclosure, then you're just ready to give me your house. It's not always that way. Sometimes some people are going through a very bad situation. They're not even aware. You know, and when they are aware, it's not always okay. Let me just give me your house. Okay, take it from me. So there's a lot of factors involved. Sometimes it depends on your ability to speak, your ability to influence, your ability to make a person feel safe, even while they're going through this kind of stuff. But how do you find list pendings? Well, finding list pending data, traditionally, you find them through the county clerk. depending on the state you live in. Some people can actually find them through the title companies, right? Title companies, attorneys that specializes in foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, because at the end of the day, when people start making payments, the bank also go to law firms to file the foreclosures. These are traditional ways. Okay, I'm just talking about the traditional ways of finding them. Okay, but I have my favorite way that I'm going to introduce you to finding list pendings or pre-foreclosure. My favorite way is through PropStream or any of the other software out there. The reality is that in this time and age, in this AI world, you can absolutely have access to some of those data without having to physically go to a court or county house. Okay, you don't have to physically go there. This time and age, you can easily get access to this kind of data without leaving the comfort of your home. The same way where you have a lot of people have access to. Hold on 1 second. Wait. What is going on? I think there might be other issues going on beyond just my prop stream now. I'm not sure. But anyway, um, let's see. I see many more high value. Let me see. Okay, Scorpion says, I see many more high value foreclosure properties going to auction. I can reach you now that I know you're interested. Yes, just send me an email. Support now at myempirepro.com. Okay. So my favorite way of reaching this type of properties through PropStream. PropStream is a software, is a web-based software. You can try it out for free. I think they give 7-day trial now for free. But it's my favorite way of getting access to. Now I've always had access through the internet because I started 20 years ago, right? Even as far back as 20 years ago, I did not go to a courthouse or a county clerk physically. I just didn't. Okay. As far back as 20 years ago, same year, 2005, that YouTube started, it made no sense for me to be going to physically look for this kind of properties. Let me see if I'm able to share my screen. I'm not sure, but let's give it a shot. Yeah. Yeah, nothing is working, guys. So we're just going to talk. Nothing is working. Let me see. I don't know what's going on. Nothing is working. Let's say share screen. Nope. Nothing. Everything is frozen. Let me check the speed. Sorry about this one, guys. I might have to, while I'm still on the road, I might have to suspend all live streaming. For now, let's see. All right. So so like I was saying, so I use PropStream today. You can see the link on the screen. It supports our channel here through the affiliate commissions. But I used to use foreclosures.com, foreclosures.com. I'm not sure if they still exist, but that platform at the time, you just get the list. But PropStream comes with all kind of analysis tools to help you analyze deals, to help you manage skip tracing, to help you manage contacts. So it's a full-blown um, CMS system. That means customer or client management system, all for the price of one. It helps you manage the business. So I prefer PropStream today. All right. So what else? So that's my favorite way of finding these deals today. And also another thing that PropStream helps you do is helps you filter for good list pendings. Not all, like I said, not all list pendings are going to become good. And eventually, as you run through this business, you start seeing some criteria that usually means motivated sellers, right? So, for example, on PropStream, you can set up filters for tired landlords for vacant properties. You can set up filters for absentee homeowners or properties that has tax liens on top of list pendings. So you can set up filters like that to reduce the number of data that you have it to be quality data. You can basically zone in, you can drill in on quality for the kind of list that you pull up, so that you can manage your marketing funds, your marketing and prospecting budget accordingly. Okay, so filters are good, and filters is something that comes with our prop stream. Again, I haven't used foreclosures.com or any other platform, so I'm just speaking to what I know and what I use very well. All right. This is data. You know, the first step in real estate business, the first piece of it, the first node, as I call it, is called it's essentially the first node is data. And what do I mean by node? So you have stages that your marketing and prospecting goes through. There are about 5 stages, and those 5 stages you transition through them using 3 processes, right? The first stage is data, and then the second stage is contact. That means you've now found a contact information. Okay, data, contact, leads, right? That means there's an interest, there's an actual interest. And then you convert that leads to the next stage, to contract. That process is called acquisition, right? So you come from acquisition to closing a deal. That will be called the disposition, right? So from data to contacts, we're now talking marketing, right? From data to contact, marketing. From contact to leads, right? That's still marketing. You can call that prospecting if you will. So marketing and prospecting. Then from leads to contract, that will be acquisition. Okay. And then from contract to a closed deal is called the disposition. So now, why did I go through that quick exercise? Very, very simple. Again, everything starts with data, and the quality of your data is everything. And filter into, you can have access to foreclosures anywhere, going to the county clerk, like I said, but that's not what you want to be doing. If you want to do this business properly, you want to leverage, you want to understand the word leverage. Okay, so pre-foreclosure is gold for us, or you can use it. Another term is list pendens. That's gold for us because it usually means the homeowner can no longer afford to hold on to the property. That property has become a liability for them, and that's not a good look. But that becomes an opportunity for you, and more importantly, becomes an opportunity for you to add value to a person who owns a property that's no longer serving them. Okay, you take that property from them legally, properly, and then you pass it on to an investor that's going to add value to that property, and then put it back on the market for people that can afford it. And then you're relieving a seller, but you're also creating inventory for the business of real estate. You're creating inventory that becomes a home for an actual people that can actually afford it. Okay. So I don't know. Have you ever checked your county house? Have you ever walked over to your county? I mean, sometimes you take a tour of it. I used to go there a lot to go postpone foreclosures and stuff like that. Because sometimes in the middle of helping some of these homeowners, the property might be almost going into foreclosure and it has a date on it. Back in days, I used to go to the county to postpone some of these auction sales. So we can have enough time to negotiate with their bank, negotiate a short sale with their bank. So short sale is another topic entirely, but list pendings is data. You can start from there. You don't have to do list pending. That's just one of my favorite ways of motivated sellers to find some of these opportunities. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to you. Now, once you take over this kind of property, you put them under contract and stuff like that. Well, once you get a hold of a contact information and they're willing to talk to you and they're interested in selling, they're at the lead stage. How do you actually make the right offer? Okay, so let's talk some ARV stuff, and yeah, I'll be right back. I hope this comes out well. I'm just teaching now. I'll be right back.
This is Ola, my Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your Empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire.
All right, so let's talk about ARV. What is ARV? You might have stumbled. Well, if you stumble into this video, there's a good chance you know what the ARV is. It's basically a piece of number that will allow you to make very smart offers every time. You know, there's some people that get into the game of wholesale real estate and they basically lose every single time. I want you to win every single time. If you know what you're doing, then you will win every single time, even if a lead is not exactly a deal. So don't get me wrong. There's data, there's leads, sorry, there's data, there's contact leads, contracts, and closed deals, right? Through each one of those stages, the numbers, the more data is going to become less qualified and less qualified and less qualified until you close deals. Okay. So it's like a funnel that closes until you close a deal, right? So I want you to be able to confidently calculate ARVs. It basically means after repair value and avoid overpaying for property. One of the major concerns for many people is what if I made the wrong offer? Well, initially when you're getting started, it's possible that you can make the wrong offer. There's always room to renegotiate. Remember, these are motivated sellers you're dealing with. So they have a distressed property usually. So you can always renegotiate, but we don't want to keep doing that because if you do that enough time, it's really a small world. Your reputation can easily get on the line. So don't get me wrong. I do, even though it's okay to make mistakes in the beginning, but eventually I want you to know what you're doing. And one of the first ways to know what you're doing is to master a number called the after repair value. Precisely, exactly, my friend Scorpion. Right? So after repair value of a property is a very simple concept. Just first of all, think about value. Value is in the eyes of the beholder. What is the market willing to pay for a piece of property right now, today? Well, real time real time is real time, but you want to go back as far back as 6 months. Okay. So another beauty about this whole thing, when I say prop stream, is allow you to be able to see that number. Traditionally, we used to have to go find a realtor who would maybe hopefully give you a password to the MLS. There was no Zillow when I started. I don't know. I wonder when was Zillow founded? Because I kind of like woke up one day and there was Zillow, right? Now today you can easily look on Zillow and maybe look at least have a quick what they call Zestimate. Oh, interestingly, Zillow has existed since 2006. Well, it wasn't as popular as it is in 2025. I'll tell you that much. But yes, so PropStream is a good tool that will help you come up with a good number ARV, the after repair value of the property. What is the property worth if it's completely perfect and is ready to be put on the market for a retail buyer, a person who wants to turn this house? We're dealing with houses, but for the end buyers, they want to turn it into a home. They are buying a home where they're going to lay their head at night, right? So what is the value of the property at the home stage? That's what we're talking about. Okay. That value, like even though most of the property you're going to deal with will need some work or major work, right? Some medium or major work, right? So we're talking about when it needs no more work and is ready and is perfectly sparkling clean. What is the value of that property today? So location, 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 right? Real estate is all about location. You and I know that, right? So you can take a piece of perfect property and uproot it away from the middle of nowhere in Mexico and bring it to the suburbs of the most beautiful part of Atlanta, or maybe most beautiful part of what do you call it, Houston, right? What's the nicest neighborhood in Houston, right? Yeah, those Sugarland, it's not going to have the same value because it's about the location when it comes to real estate, right? So if you're losing deals, if you feel like you've been trying to do this business and you've been losing deals, you're not losing deals because of bad deals. You're probably losing deals because your ARV number, that number is off. You don't know how to find the proper ARV. Okay. So it's the foundation of everything of your offer. You need that number to be right. So you need, remember, you need comparables. Comparables to, well, how comparables in the location. That location, I already said location, right? But you need properties that compare to that same, to what is the end outcome for you as an investor, because you are an investor as a wholesaler, right? You have to think like an investor. What's the end product, right? What is the vision of that product? What's the finished product, right? That the comparables, you need similar properties that compare to that in similar condition, right? And because we're thinking ahead of the game now, we have to adjust it backwards, right? So we call that the adjustment. So what is the estimated cost of repair? What is it going to cost to bring that land, piece of property, real estate, bring it up to speed where it is now worth that ARV in real time? Like the fair market value, FMV is now equals to ARV. What is it going to cost to bring it up? That's called the estimated cost of repair. So we need comparables, or we need to know what the condition of the property is, and then we need to know what is it going to cost it to bring it from the condition it is to a finished product, right? And the major mistakes that I see most people make is they over speculate on the ARV. I see people all the time, they send emails, they say, oh, this property is worth $1.2 million. And a lot of people, a lot of wholesalers came into the game since I started, and they just throw numbers out there based on the, So you don't want to be, it's not about being super conservative or being super pessimistic. It's not about that. You just want to be as realistic as possible. But like I said, the best tool for me so thus far has been PropStream, because I can basically see everything that's going on in the market. Unfortunately, this week I won't be able to show you because my internet connection, I'm in Rhode Island right now, it's just terrible here, which I will be yeah, I'm gonna have to leave a very nasty review for them. Yeah, so I would have loved to really give you guys some examples. So if you guys know any other favorite tools out there, if you've been trying to business and some people have been talking about other tools outside of PropStream, feel free to drop it in the comments. I really don't care. That's just the one that I've used for me. I've used PropStream since 2016, 17-ish. It's been a while. Yeah. But the ARV is the number. So from ARV, what do you do with the ARV? ARV multiply that by about 70%. I say about 70% because that number can vary depending on what kind of neighborhood you're dealing with. The number goes a little bit higher for the higher the value of that neighborhood is. If you're dealing with $50,000 neighborhood, the number needs to be at around 55 to 65% of the ARV. I'm talking about what is your maximum allowable offer. How do you calculate the offer that you need to put on a property? Because remember, the more offers you make on a property, the higher the chances you're going to find a deal. Okay, but it's about knowing your numbers. The numbers, the roots, the foundation of everything is the after repair value. If you know how to nail this, you will stop losing deals. Once you know how to nail this, there are investors everywhere looking for your deal. Okay. Also, it's also very there's an disadvantage to knowing the neighborhood. So for some people, they're virtual wholesalers. Okay, I've had phases of my business where I just operated as a virtual wholesaler, and I've had the phases where I've actually zoned in on a particular location. Okay, you have different strengths and weaknesses depending on what you want to do. Virtual wholesalers are people who basically cast a wide net across the nation, United States, and they look for deals everywhere. With digital marketing, we focus more virtual wholesaling because it's about numbers, it's about data, it's about AI as far as the way we operate, and we let the artificial intelligence of the social media platforms find where there's traction, and we just zone in. And if there's attraction, if there's interest in our ads, we zone in. There's opportunities. We find the opportunity because it's about numbers. But if you want to do things manually, you want to do direct mailing and stuff like that, your best, or you want to do cold calling, you have a better advantage when you get to know a neighborhood, and that's something else you want to pay attention to. But at the end of the day, uh, this is digital world. Numbers you tell a lot of the stories if you know what you're doing. But again, it comes down to numbers, mastering the ARV, the after repair value. So multiply ARV by about 70%, between 55 and 85%. Close to 85% if you're dealing with $1 million neighborhoods, 5% if you're dealing with $50,000 neighborhood. I say $50,000 because personally I don't deal with properties anything less than $50,000. There's not enough spread for us to make money, if you know what I mean, right? So, but wherever the deal is, we always find a way to make it work. But those are the simple numbers. So you multiply that by that factor, okay, the profit factor, and then you adjust it with the estimated cost of repair, right? Another reason why I don't deal with $50,000 neighborhoods is because imagine if I spend $50,000 to fix a house that's worth $50,000. There's no room to really make anything happen. So it's all about numbers. All right, so if you want to play around with ARV, PropStream also has some fantastic calculators and tools to help you calculate. In fact, they spit out a number at you already, and then you can start drilling in and making. And they have what they call the PropStream Academy to make it easier too. All right, let's move on. Let me see what we got here. So now that you know what the numbers are, how do you get sellers to actually sign that contract? Right? Because like I told you, not every lead is going to turn to deals, right? Some people some people are a little bit awkward, so you can actually lose deals if you don't know what you're doing. So, but how do you get those people to actually sign the contract? Because the contract is what creates the equitable interest, what we call wholesale real estate, right? It's the contract that creates that interest that you can turn to cash. So let's go ahead and talk about that, and I'll be right back.
This is Ola, my Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your Empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire.
All right, welcome back. Contracts that close. How wholesalers get sellers to sign fast. Before I get into that, I see a question that came from Latu. Natu, I see. How you doing, Natu? Question from Scorpion Bradford says, if it's $600,000 to $850,000 per house, which percentage would be best? So I would probably be around 75% for that. Okay, between 75 and 85%. Okay, now it would depend on a couple of other factors. If I have something solid going on there, I would talk to the buyers in that area. I would have, if I have access. If you don't have access, go inside of PropStream again and look at the data and see what the cash. There's a filter inside of PropStream called cash buyers, or another filter also called. There's another filter called. Let me make sure that I'm not sharing the screen at all. Yeah, there's another filter called the flipper agents. Okay, flipper agents are basically agents that represent cash buyers. Go look at what those numbers in that neighborhood is. You will see that they're closer to 85% than they are closer to 65%. My magic number is always 65%. That's how I came into the business. I was taught by my mentors 65%. So I basically push from there higher depending on affluent or $50,000, right? So it just depends. Go look at what the buyers are buying for in the last 6 months, the cash buyers in that area, and PropStream also allows you to do that. Okay. So now urgency, and trust. Urgency or trust, two factors you want to really pay attention to when you're talking to sellers. Okay. Urgency and trust. If you strike a balance between urgency and trust, the sellers will commit quickly. Okay. The people that are calling you, if you're following my lead using digital marketing to find leads, right? The people that are calling you, what they want is really urgency. But you also don't want to come off as a person that is suspicious in any way, or and if you're desperate, you will become suspicious very quickly. If you're confident, you'll become trustworthy very quickly. If you can provide value, urgency, which is why they're calling you, they want to sell a house quick, fast, right now. They need to get rid of a piece of liability. They call it a house. They used to call it a home, or they used to call it a investment property, right? So, but now they're stuck with it and they need to get rid of it. So urgency, the striking a balance between urgency and trust is going to be the key. Okay. Now I know we've talked about numbers and everything and all that kind of stuff, but that's not how the deals happen. Okay. The contracts, like I said earlier on, is what creates what we call the equitable interest, which is what wholesalers flip. That's what you turn into opportunities. That's what you turn into homes. That's what you turn into value. That's what you turn into profits in your pocket, right? So let's talk about it. Like any other business, psychology is key. Psychology, understanding the psychology is key, like any other business. Okay. You want to remain cool, calm, and collected. I'm talking about confidence. Now, obviously, that's easier when you know what you're doing, when you're educated. Um, but a part of that education comes from experience. That means you have to, at some point, put yourself out there and take some risk. Okay, maybe with your money or anything like that. But when it comes to the psychology of the seller, like I said earlier, urgency and trust. But let's dig even a little bit deeper. There's something called fear and timing. Fear and timing. If the timing is right, they're ready to go. If the timing is off, they're not ready to go, right? So that's not it's not a lot you can do when you just want to make sure that you're ready when the timing is right. You want to be available for them when you want to be that guy that they'll call when the timing is right. Okay. So if the timing is off, the timing is off. However, you want to be ready. That ready part is something you can control, that you can control, right? And then when you're able to say, hey, let me know when you're ready, that also boosts trust, because now they know you're not just depending on their house to create business, to create value for the marketplace. Okay. So there are three things I want to share with you really quickly. Okay. Three things that will make a seller say yes outside of the timing is just not right. Okay. If the timing is not right, make sure that you have systems in place that the timing is always right for you. The timing may not be right for them, but the timing is always right. There's a lot of people trying to time the market. Trying to time the market, that's how you lose. Instead, make sure the timing is always right for your own business. Be in business, be consistent. But three things, there are three C's, okay? Clarity, all right? You want to be clear, okay? How do you become clear? You have to listen. I'll tell you more about that. But clarity, confidence, and convenience, okay? I can't put that on the screen right now because, again, I'm struggle streaming today. Shout out to La Quinta. It's a weird hotel. Anyway, clarity, confidence, and what did I say? Convenience. Okay. It's how do you showcase this? It's how you present your offer. Okay. The official corporate, all that stuff is going out the window when you're stiff. All that is good. You want to be conversational. You want to become likable, essentially. These people to you want them to feel like you're a normal human being. People do business with people, not with corporate, right? In recent times, you've seen like major, massive companies that try to bring institutional money into wholesale. Many actually went bankrupt. Uh, Partially bankrupt, trouble at one point. The personal touch is not there. That's the luxury that you and I have, because we can bring a personal touch into this. People want to do business with people. If you bring that confidence and there's the personal touch, it's the magic that you're looking for. Okay. So even if you get big, you want to make sure that your business is always, um, you're always understanding the plight of the regular person, that the person you're bringing value to. They need to kind of feel like you care. Okay. So conversational, you want to make sure that your conversations are conversational and not so rigid. You don't want to be talking about stupid policies or any of that kind of stuff. You need to speak their language. You need to speak to what is going to become value to them. Okay. Now that you know what's going to become value to them, you have to do a lot more listening. Okay. It also helps you when it comes to objection handling. Yes, of course, this is kind of sales. It is sales. Okay. So objection handling is even a lot more better when you're able to listen to them, understand where they're coming from, and then use that in your delivery of value to them. Okay. So even when it comes to using technologies such as the DocuSign, e-signature tools, and stuff like that, long before there was DocuSign, I'm curious, when was DocuSign founded? Too long before there was DocuSign, I was getting people to sign and fax over the contract to me. How? Because I knew how to make them feel comfortable. Interestingly, DocuSign was founded in 2003, but it didn't become what it is today at that time. The question I should ask is that when did you find out about DocuSign? I didn't find out about DocuSign until probably 2011, 12-ish. But long before that, I had been getting people, I will fax over the document, I will send it to their email, they will print it out, sign it, they will fax it over to me, and it will show up in my email back then. So it's all in understanding the psychology of a seller who needs to get rid of a property urgently, but you also understand that they need to be able to trust you. Okay. What's the number one excuse that you hear from sellers when they don't want to sign? Share yours. If you've been operating it, share yours in the comment section. I would like to know what that is. I think we can compare some war stories, because I've had my own fair share of war stories. I don't know if I told you. Well, if you want to hear my, if you go to the home, okay, so some in there. So maybe we can some horror story. What's the number one excuse that you've heard from sellers when they hesitate to sign? Okay, so now that you understand how contracts flow, okay, and how you get your business flowing by simply understanding the psychology to getting people to sign contracts, there's some faster paydays. I want to talk about that. Okay, there's some faster paydays that can happen for you. Let me see here. Scorpion say, I have to talk to my partner. Awesome. All right, so I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back. Let's move on. I want to talk the next segment here. We're going to talk about, what is it again? How to print these checks. Okay. The easiest money I've ever made in my life is still real estate, guys. I've made some other things. I love coaching people on relationships. Right, I do that as well, and it's also easy money. But the easiest money I've made is hands down still real estate. I made a lot of money coaching as well in digital marketing, healthcare, IT. That's also easy money actually, but real estate is still the best. Right. So I'll be right back. Let's move real quick.
This is Ola, my Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire.
All right, welcome back. List pendens to payday. Deals that print $10,000 plus checks. All right, so I have some things I want to share with you on this particular segment. I have some things in my mind I would like to share with you, if you will allow me. Okay. I always like to, when you understand the architecture of the business, things are a lot more better. Even and then assigning the right to those contracts to buy at a cheap discount to an end buyer for an assignment fee of $10,000 or more. Does that mean you will always make $10,000? No. I've actually walked out of a deal with nothing before just to get it to close. And I've also walked out of a deal with as high as $82,000 check for one single deal. And over the course of my career, I've averaged between $15,000 and $25,000 per deal. Okay. All right. And I've only done 2 fixed flips before. Okay. Earlier on, I've done 2 fix and flips. Okay. And the reality is that wholesale money is just easier. It's a lot higher return on investment, but the investment is the skill set, the marketing skill set, which is what I'm also teaching here. Okay. So list pendings it's much more than just data. List pendings, like I've said before multiple times here, is a pending lawsuit. It's problems. It's problems for somebody, their family, somewhere, somebody's husband who has gone to buy a property that nobody sent him to go and buy. But he eventually bought a property. He thought it was going to become a multi-million-dollar real estate holder. But the first deal, second deal, he got stuck. And then there's problems. Okay. So the full pipeline is what I wanted to again reiterate here and then basically emphasize here. It's a very, very simple business. Okay. But it's going to require resources in the beginning, either time or money or somewhere in between, right? But it also requires data, right? So in business, in a digital age, a couple of things that I want you to actually pay attention to, right? So in the what do you call them? In the venture capital world, there's a couple of them is media. Okay, one of them is media. One of the things you need is media. But in this digital world that we're in right now, another resource, I don't know if I should call it resource, but another piece, another very important piece of the business is called data. And data for many reasons. First of all, data. List pendings is a form of data, right? This is data of people that are heading towards foreclosure, about to lose their home. But more importantly, data-driven decisions, learning how to look at numbers to make decisions, right? This is true in every facet of our lives today. If you understand this, if you have that concept at the back of your mind, and when I bring this to you, makes sense to you, right? So list pendings, the lead starts from data when the bank files a pending lawsuit, right? That means they've stopped payment, they've stamped that person's credit with 30-day late, 60 days late, 90 days late, a couple of months later, a list pendings. Some people call it pre-foreclosure, right? So from that data, you now need to find the contact information, right? That's the pipeline. Finding the contact information, there are prospecting. We're starting the marketing and prospecting, contact to leads. Okay. Leads means there's an interest. That means you've actually spoken to the contact information over the phone, or they called you because they found your ads, your digital advertising on Facebook, on Instagram, on Google somewhere. They found it. They called you at that point in time. You now have a lead. Now you need to turn that lead through a phone call, through a consultation, learning how to talk to them. You need to turn that into a contract. That process is called acquisition, right? And then from contract, you need to assign the rights because you locked in a good deal, right? You understood ARV, after repair value. You were able to calculate a maximum allowable offer by multiplying it with the profit factor, then adjusting it with the estimated cost of repair. You came up with a number. That's your maximum allowable offer. You knew how to negotiate. And then, they signed the deal, right? So once they sign that contract, right? I'm calling it deal, but it's not yet a deal until it's closed, right? So from that contract to closing is what we call the disposition. All right. So that pipeline, understanding that pipeline right there, write down on the paper somewhere, put it on the wall somewhere, blow it up. Don't underestimate this, right? Making this stick at the back of your hand is going to be the core of the success of your journey. If you understand this, you're in the game. Okay. It's like I don't have the money. I don't have the money to get started. I don't have the money to all that is the easiest part of it. If you can explain and understand what I did easily, then you're in the game because it's just now about finding out which one of the resources do you need and how do you go after them. So maybe you don't have time, but you have money. Okay, all right. Where do I put my money so I can actually see how this works out? It's just now it becomes a matter of understanding reports, right? I have time, but I don't have the money. Where can I put my time? Okay, that means you can drive for dollars. I don't encourage that, but you can drive for dollars, drive around town, look for good deals, find their contact information, spend a couple of dollars, $3, $4, find the contact and speak to someone. Right. I don't encourage that. If you're going to do cold calling, do it at scale as well. I don't enjoy talking to strangers personally, but people do it successfully and they make it work. Well, I have time. Well, I have time, but I also have money. But can I learn this digital marketing thing to bring in deals and have people calling me? We'll call it inbound leads, right? Inbound leads. Wait, leads. Why are we jumping to leads? I thought it's data contact leads because when you understand digital marketing, all of that process is like all in one, right? Marketing, right? Message and media. Remember, I was just talking about media, right? So media, you have labor, right? Your personal time. You're starting off with your personal time as labor, right? Capital, media, labor, code. Well, you don't have to code. Facebook will do the code for you, right? Those are the four things that the venture capitalists are looking for today, right? Code, media. What is it again? Code, media, and they have labor, and then they have capital, right? Yeah, all of that. If you understand this and you know where they all fit, then this game is all yours. Because at the end of the day, people will continue for a roof over their head. Okay, people will continue to have to pay for a roof over their head. Okay, but the whole thing started with lead spendings. But Ola, if you do digital marketing, where does lead spendings come in? Well, here's the thing: by the time it hits the data port, lead spendings, right? You might have captured the lead because some people know that they're about to have trouble with the house the moment the tenant starts to stress them out. At that time, they can see your banner in the middle of their feed on Facebook, on Instagram, and they can just say, "Listen, I've got a deal here." No, they don't say I have a deal. They say, "I don't know, I have a house I want to sell," because your marketing message says we buy houses. So they're calling you because they have a house to sell. Remember urgency, right? So if you now know how to talk to them in a way that you can build trust, urgency and trust, you're looking to strike that balance, then the conversation is not just about avoiding, they don't want the world to know that they're facing foreclosure. You already captured this lead long before it hit the foreclosure list. Okay, it still starts with data. How are we able to target all of those people? Well, because Facebook has everybody's data. I know you don't like it. I don't like it either, but they have access to everything. At least they know your behavioral data when it comes to how you navigate the social media. Okay, they know what you've been hanging out. They know what kind of interest you've been engaging, right? And when you click on one ad, you notice you keep seeing similar ads because they now know your behavior because you have happy finger. You're clicking on stuff, right? So the deal all started with list pendants, but long before it's actually recorded as list pendants if you follow my lead because of digital marketing. Okay. So now the disposition aspect of it, which is once you contract and how do you convert those contracts, how do you convert them to deals? That's actually a marketing funnel on its own too, because now you need to find what you need to find cash buyers. Okay, you need to find fast. Well, the process of finding cash buyers fast goes back to understanding your numbers, the art and the science of coming up with the right ARV. ARV is not an exact science because you'll find some buyers too will tell you you're crazy for thinking that's a, some people will tell you, the moment of them saying that you might actually find another buyer that say I know what to do with this deal, just give it. So again, understand that there's wiggle rooms here, but it's still a science. It's not an exact science, but it's an exact. It's not an exact science, but it's a science. So it takes time and experience, and the earlier you get started, the better. Okay. So hopefully, very soon I'll have access to good internet, so I can break down some of these deals. But if you're interested in seeing me break down a deal, I'll put a deal in the chat in the comment section after this. Okay. Now, speaking of selling it fast, let's talk a little bit more about disposition, which is where you turn contract to cash. All right. And I'll be right back.
This is Ola, my Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your Empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire.
All right, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Disposition explained. The truth about disposing contract. I spoke about that a little bit just now, but it takes a while. I'll give you, when I started, my first deal was $10,000 exactly. I went through the disposition by myself. I would definitely say there's elements of luck in it. But not exactly, because it was 6 months before I closed my first deal after I started what's English? After I started marketing, it was about 6 months. So, but I was lucky enough uh to to go through the disposition of my first deal by myself. But by the time I was closing that deal, in that pipeline, I had 3 other deals. And I was smart enough to partner with my mentor at the time. His name is Anthony. I partner with him. I just basically say, hey, just handle it. Let me focus on the marketing, because I realized at that time that even though we say it's 5 stages, 3 processes, 5 stages, 3 processes: data, contact, leads, contract, close deals, right? Going through those 5 stages, going through the process, which is marketing, acquisition, disposition. Marketing by itself is a full-time endeavor. Now, when I say that, I don't mean time. I'm talking about more so understanding the process and being able to manage it. Setting it up and managing it. It doesn't take more than 4 hours a week if you're doing it right. But sometimes the learning curve will consume a lot of your time. Trying to figure out what is what. If you don't have any experience, the learning curve will consume a lot of time. Okay. So, of course, as you can imagine, in the beginning, I was going through a lot. I was testing different things. I had doubts. I had things that I stopped before they worked. I had things that I quit before they worked. So Every time I stopped it, I had to start all over again, right? So of course, there's marketing. There is so at that point, the next three deals after that first one, as they were in the pipeline, I just basically outsourced. You can call it outsourcing. I outsourced the disposition to my partner, my mentor at the time, because I didn't want to make any mistake, you know. And the reality is that before they became contracts in the pipeline, there were many leads that had fell through. You know, maybe I made a boo boo, maybe I said the wrong thing, maybe what for whatever reason I just felt like, you know what, I felt, let me stack some money first before I start to dabble by myself. So I outsource the disposition to him. So the disposition is the process of going from a contract, once you get a contract signed by sellers, to a closed deal. And you want that process to be as fast as humanly possible, especially if there's no negotiation of short sales. If there's negotiation on short sales, you already set the expectation that the bank is going to take their time talking to the agents. So that takes a while. So, and they already know they can't rush. But if it's a situation that's urgency and there's a real deal that you've managed to strike, then you want to be able to do that properly. And it shouldn't take that long if you have the right numbers. Okay. So finding the deal is half the battle. Disposition is where you actually get paid. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Disposition means the process of going from the stage of contract to a closed deal. And you need people. Like in any other marketing endeavors, you need people, right? You have people, systems, you have process, people, systems, product systems, or product message, marketing message. Okay, people. People, and then system that connects the people to value, right? You have people, you have value, you bring in people, and you have a system that connects them. Another way of saying that is the traditional. You have market the value, that's the marketing message, right? And then you have the media, right? The system that connects. So this position by itself is marketing operation on itself, but probably more so perspective, because you have it's called a contract. If you don't job with your AE, you have a contract, so you need to get the right people seeing it as soon as possible. You need to put down money, you need to have title work started, and you want to go to closing. So the very first step for me is I find buyer. The second, once I find a buyer, we write the contract. There's a second piece of contract if you're doing double closing. And if you're doing an assignment, there's still a second piece of an assignment contract that will assign the original contract to the end buyer. And you want to send those documents straight to your favorite title company, hopefully an investor-friendly title company that already understands assignment deals. Okay, there are many of them out there. Okay, and once you go through, they start the title work. The title work costs money, so you don't want to send contracts to the title company unless you make sure that there's actually money. So meaning there's a deposit, the earnest money deposit, they call it EMD, from the end buyer ready to go. Okay, you send that all together, wire the money into the escrow for the lawyers, and then they can start the title work to make sure that the title is clean of any kind of what they call cloud, like as in like debts against the property. They just want to make sure it's clean, that everything is good, that the new owner is protected from any past, they call it encumbrances, problems. Let's just call it problems. Okay, I don't know the big words. So you avoid disposition bottlenecks, as they call it. Okay. So a couple of things that I wanted to point out here again. Speed matters. You find a buyer. When it comes to disposition, speed matters. Okay. You pre-qualify your buyer by making sure they put their money where their mouth is. There's a lot of wholesalers out there that are not they call them straw, not is it straw buyers? It's straw buyers. You want to be careful with those people. Some of them can actually bring you good deals, but you just want to make sure that you don't lock up a contract with people that have no money. If they want to go and bring you a buyer, say, yeah, sure, why not? You know, but nothing is solid until there's actual money, right? And that's the best way to pre-qualify your buyers. Make sure they actually have money, they're players, they're ready to go. They see a good deal, they're ready to go. Or they say, well, your numbers are a little bit off. That can happen legitimately. Bad pricing, yes. Like I said, everything starts from a good ARV. Okay? Then follow up. You're following up with people. There shouldn't be a need for too hard of a follow up. If they don't have access to money, that can create a bunch of bottleneck. They can actually give you a deposit check and don't have access to the rest of the money. That's also no good. But you should be able to detect those and have terms on contracts so that at least terms of the contract can expire if they don't have access to the rest of the money. But transparency is key. Hey, just tell me, tell me what you're working with. You're working with a hard money lender? Are you working with a private money lender? Exactly where's the money coming from? Okay, all right. When do you want me to follow up? How soon can I follow up? Okay, you write those things down. Eventually, once you start growing the business, you do want what they called transaction coordinator to do some of this follow up. But I did all of that myself. 31 deals in, I was doing it by myself. But if I was to do it all over again, by the time I got to about 20 deals, I'll be sharing all that money with people and have a system. But that's in hindsight. So that's how you get this deal moving fast. You just want to make sure that you're taking care of. I said quite a few things in this segment here, but the key thing here, understand that disposition by itself is another part of your operation. It's like marketing. So you have marketing, disposition. Disposition is just as big as marketing because you want to make sure you're talking to the right people and not waste. Okay? You have a long way. If you have about I mean, your buyers list should not be stagnant. You should always be bringing new people onto your buyers list as well. Okay. So now that you've seen how to convert this list and these deals to fast payday, okay, and long ones and long term, right? Let's zoom out a little bit and talk about the best source of motivated sellers. Let's drive in a little bit onto that as well. Okay. All right. I'll be right back.
This is Ola, my Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your Empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. List Pendens Gold Mine. Why pre-foreclosures are the best motivated seller lead. All right, so list pendings, I've told you before, it means pending lawsuit, okay? Foreclosure lawsuit. Somebody stopped payment on their mortgage or some other kind of lien against their property, and now the owner of the promissory notes wants their money, but they use the property to stand as what they call it, collateral security, right? As collateral, right? They use the property to stand for the money they collected. There was a promissory note, and they want to get paid. Okay, so now that they want to get paid, they have to go through a process called foreclosure. In New Jersey, it's a long process. Last time I checked was more than a year. It used to be about 10 months when everything was okay. But after the market crashed in 2008, it became like a 2-3 year process. And then with COVID, it takes a while before they get their money back or get the property back. So if they don't get the money, they foreclose on the property, they auction the property at the county house, they auction it to investors for pennies. They get what they can get, right? And then they still owe the rest of it. It's a very nasty game, okay? But that's called foreclosure. By the time they auction and they take back the deed of the property and they take what they call the sheriff deed, at that point in time, they lose the property. Then they have to go through the process of eviction, of getting all the people that live in the property out of the property if they were the owner, or taking over the ownership of the property. They have tenants, they have to go through certain things, certain process. It's just a very nasty process. But anyway, pre-foreclosure is everything that happened before they actually lose the property into an auction. Okay, so that pre-foreclosure is called list pendens in different counties around the United States. So if you ever see the term list pendens, that's what it means. But for us, it means gold mine. It means opportunity. It means money. It means it's a problem, right? Which means an opportunity for us to solve a problem and get paid. Okay, so I don't want you to necessarily focus on this one type of lead, but it's a gold mine. Okay, it's the best source of lead because you can basically stack all the other criteria, or what we call filters, inside of PropStream. You can stack them on top of it. Okay, so imagine somebody is showing on a pre-foreclosure list somewhere, and now they also live about 49 states across the country, right? And now the property is also vacant, right? And now they also have a tax lien against the property, right? These are layers of distress that can turn to motivation why a person might want to get rid of the property. For all this money that are owed, what if they are much more than what the property is worth? Then we have to talk about things like short sale. But the point is that once there's motivation, then there are solutions. It's just a matter of motivation. If there's no motivation, it doesn't matter how much equity is in the property. There's no deal, What about if there's a property has shown up on the pre-foreclosure list, but it's also what we call high equity, right? There's also a type of lead that we call high equity, meaning they owe very little against the property compared to the value of the property. Example, a property is worth $700,000, but they only owe $35,000, about 5% of what the property is worth. That's what we call high equity. But it's even better. That could be a deal easily. You can go after them, but it's even better if they owe like a small lien against the property for $20,000, and now they're on the pre-foreclosure list. It's not about the equity for them. The house been sitting around and you're like, yeah, let's just get rid of it. They might even sell you the property for $235,000. They still walk away with about $150,000. The property that you're getting is still worth $700,000. Can you easily make $30,000 from all that money? Yes, absolutely. So, in my opinion, the best source of leads is what we call the list pendens, okay? Because it actually equals to real motivation. There is pain involved, there's pressure, and there's a timing issue. There's a need for urgency for them to act very quickly. That's three in one, okay? And how do you find this list? I told you before. Just go to your county clerk and say, hey, I'm looking for a list of pre-foreclosure. Don't do that. You don't need to do that. All you have to do is go to PropStream, sign up for a trial of PropStream, and you have access to thousands, hundreds of thousands of property records, which includes list pendings, high equity, okay, vacant properties, okay, in certain parts of the country, tired landlords, right, including cash buyers that you can flip some of these properties for. Everything is available right there for you, okay? Also, with PropStream, you have a tool for easy follow-up because you need a good follow-up strategy over time. Because the reality is that list pendings don't stay list pendings forever. Why? Because people like us will get to it faster than you. The list is better or best, in my opinion, because it's a predictable pipeline. It means peace of mind. Recently, just this year, about over 140,000 pre-foreclosure has been filed. So it's opportunity. Don't look at the competition. Okay, consistency beats everything else. Okay, most people come and go from this business all the time. Most of them are losers. Okay, just say it straight up. Most of them are losers because they're not consistent. They do exactly that, come and go. Okay, I've been one of those too, so don't worry about it. I'm not even trying to insult anyone. But if you're consistent, there's more than enough for you to benefit from this. All right. Now, what other source of leads have you heard? Maybe probate, giving you ideas. Like, leave some of them in the chat. Let me know in the chat or the comments some other ones you've heard about before. Okay. All right. So now let's connect the dots. How does this become a $10,000 per month blueprint for you? Let's connect the dots. Okay. I'll be right back.
This is Ola at My Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire.
All right, welcome back. So let's talk about the $10,000 per month wholesale real estate blueprint. From zero to consistent leads or deals. Consistent deals. Leads don't get you paid. Actually, they do, but you don't get paid until they become deals. Right? From leads to deals. Yeah, from leads to deals. Yeah. How do we get all that done? Scorpion, you still here? Shout out to you. The tax lien, code violations, water cutoff list, the list endless. Opportunities. These are all layers of motivation. Love it, love it. Thank you for that, bro. I'm assuming it's a bro. I don't know why I'm assuming it's a bro, but thank you for that. All right, so let's tie everything together. Okay, let's tie everything together into a simple roadmap for consistency and long-term results. Consistency, I don't know how many times I've said that here today, okay? But consistency is really the key here, okay? I'm going to stress consistency precisely because the devil is going to come for your ability to be consistent. I know, right? I'm not trying to bring religion into it, but it is what it is, right? The devil is going to come for your ability to be consistent. Scorpius, I'm here until the end, brother. Yeah, we're rounding up right now. Shout out to you. The devil is going to come for your ability to be consistent. And consistency starts with getting started. You know, some people just sit on the sideline over and over and over and over again. They're getting ready to get started, right? That's also the same problems. That's the same demon, okay? That will not make you get started. Even if it's as simple as signing up for the trial of PropStream and start looking at some of the and playing around with some of the tools, bells, and whistles there, right? It goes a long way. It goes a long way. But I'm telling you right now that even no matter what level you are in this game, the easiest thing to tackle, for the enemy to tackle, is consistency. And then everything literally crumbles. You know how some people say you just work one time and get paid over and over again? It's true to a large extent, but sometimes it's BS. You know, if you don't have a system in place, the idea of systems is consistency. It's something that's so boring, it's that boring that you are tempted all the time to change course. All the time. You're getting tempted over and over to change course. The wholesale real estate is the same thing. Wholesale real estate, the art and science of finding deeply discounted properties, locking them under contract, and then assigning the right to purchase this property at a discount, right, to other end buyer investors for an assignment fee. The reason why I'm able to say that way is because I said that over and over and over again, and I don't know, maybe 1,500 videos on this channel. But it's also because I operated in this business and this was my bread and butter, and like I dreamt it, I woke up into it, even before I closed my first deal. So if you want long-term results, right, you want to have consistency compound out in the game for you. You know, learning curve is also an enemy, but it's a necessity. It's a necessary devil, the necessary evil, right? That's what I call it. Okay. So $10,000 is not going to be some magic thing. It's not, you know, it's going to be systems. There's going to be consistency through the right data and leads. Okay, you need a pipeline that consistently flowing. You do not want to get started positioning yourself like, I'm just going to try this out for 1 month and see if it works. If you position yourself that way, I'll tell you what's about to happen. It's not going to work. Right? It's not going to work because, hey, listen, man, you don't live in a cave. There are other people here in the business. The competition is not high. The competition of inconsistent people is super high. Oh, yeah. It's so many people that have come and gone ever since I found myself in the game of real estate. Okay. So, as a matter of fact, I was gone too multiple times in the middle of it. It's just that I'm the ordained one here to stay forever. But I've been in that position. And it comes in the form of distractions. Distractions are not distractions because they are dirty, devil, black garments, devil. No, it's because they are really enticing and they look valuable. And sometimes they will serve short-term needs. Those are distractions. So you want to make sure you're positioned in a way that you're kicking against these distractions all the time. Okay? So three pillars, marketing, marketing. Three in one. Well, marketing, everything starts with marketing. Marketing, acquisition, disposition. Okay. You can think of marketing as leads or list pendings. There's tons of pre-foreclosures right now on PropStream that are waiting to hear from you. Just keep it simple. Okay. Oh, well, once they heard from you, I don't know what to do. Don't worry about it. Just make sure they hear from you first. Reach out, create an outreach, create campaigns, digital marketing, set up campaign. Let's get that going. Don't worry about everything else. Don't worry about disposition for now. You can't worry about disposition if you don't know how to do acquisition yet. If you don't know how to come up with the right after repair value yet, you cannot worry about disposition. It's phase by phase, step by step, process by process. The first process you need to worry about is marketing. If you don't have marketing that's filling the pipeline in a consistent manner as a system, you are probably going to fail. System does not mean software. Software is a form of a system, but that's not the only type of system. Your system could be as manual as mine was in the beginning. I used Excel and foreclosures.com. That's all I had. Microsoft Excel. That is a system. The system means it's consistent. It's boring. It's boring. The only way that it won't be boring to you if you keep your eyes on the price and never take your eyes off the price. If not, it's going to get boring. If you have options, it's going to get boring. That's what I had at one point. I started having all these other options that was making money, digital marketing, all these other things, right? That was making me money. So I got distracted. But then in hindsight, terrible mistakes. I don't want you to make the same mistake. Because wholesale real estate is not just about wholesale real estate. It's about an opportunity to build a massive real estate portfolio at pennies on the dollars. Okay, the opportunity is larger than that's the mistake that a lot of wholesalers make. They think this is just about a quick payday. No, this is long term. This is legacy. This is an opportunity for you to find the best deals in the marketplace. How are you going to do that? By having a marketing operation in place, a marketing system, meaning consistency. Okay, if you don't have it, you're going to struggle. Okay, there's things that happen over and over again every week in and out, calls, contracts, closings, calls, contract closings. How does that happen? Marketing, outreach, campaign. Okay, showing up daily will beat perfection every single time of the year. Okay, so I would be conservative and say, hey, you need at least 90 days of consistency, but I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. Okay, I've been doing this in and out for 20 years straight. Okay, the first 3 years was consistent. It was easier for me to be consistent because I was, you know, what they call ignorance and bliss. I was 26, 27, 28 years old, right? It is hard to be consistent when you're getting older, because the distraction gets a lot more. Your life gets a lot more complex. But I'm saying it right now because we're going to hold ourselves accountable to consistency. A simple weekly goal. You set it. How many pieces of data do I want to set up for marketing outreach this week? How many clicks do I need to generate into my business, my digital marketing campaign this week? Keep it simple. How many leads am I going after? How many contacts need to be made? You focus on the part of it you can control, and then let the output of the system be what it's going to be. And then you use that as data-driven decision-making tools to continue to pivot until you create the kind of business you're looking for. You can do that. You're in the game. You're running a $10,000 or more per month business. Okay. So if you're in, type in "I'm in" the chat in the comments later on. Anytime, you can always reach me. My contact information is scrolling through the screen. I will take a free consultation if you're serious enough. You just have to go through myempirepro.com/partners. Book a time with me. We'll set All right, I think I'm back. All right. What I was saying is you go through myempirepro.com/mypartners, and then you fill out the small short form, and then you book a time, and then we'll talk. See what you got, see what you have, see who we can work with together. Okay. But right now I'm looking for partners. If you have time, if you have money, or somewhere in between, let's see how we can work together and build a massive system. All right. Yeah. I appreciate you guys. That's the blueprint. Do me a favor, hit like, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications, share this with people you think will find value in this. Doesn't matter if you're just getting started, doesn't matter if you have experience. Still online. Struggle. Okay, I think I'm still online. I am. I'm rounding up. I'm done. I'm done. I'm stressed, but I'm done. All right. Thank you so much. Take care and God bless. Peace.
This is Ola at My Empire Pro, your favorite real estate coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your Empire starts today. I've written 3 game-changing books. Download them free at myempirepro.com/books. I'm also looking for partners, money, time, or anywhere in between. If that's you, visit myempirepro.com/partners. And if you want to try the all-in-one PropStream software for free, go to myempirepro.com/PropStream. Stay tuned. Let's build your $10,000 per month real estate empire.